Okay.
Okay, we're done. Okay, so your breath is still stink?
The roasted garlic is a lot less strong than raw garlic. So I've had it before where we didn't quite get it roasted enough, and then this is really strong and hard to eat. But if you roast it until it feels squishy, then that should be enough. It shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it can be a problem to not roast it long enough. Okay, and then cumin is another thing that I always will use. And for cumin, I just use a 1/4 teaspoon, but really it's however much you like to taste. And then 2 teaspoons of salt. And then on the recipe, you'll notice that there's different variations. So what I'm doing is the roasted garlic variation. And so I will also use a couple of tablespoons of fresh basil, so just a few leaves is all you need. And then it says 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley, but I don't usually have fresh parsley on hand, so I will just use 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. So if you don't have fresh basil, you can use just 2 teaspoons of dry basil, and that works too. Okay, and that is it. So then I will put the lid on the food processor. So in order to blend this up, there's multiple things you can do. We've done it before when we've moved to France and didn't have anything with us at all. We've just mashed it with a fork and it works okay. It's a little more chunky that way, but I kind of liked it chunky. So, but a food processor works. We've also done it with an immersion blender. There's just lots of ways you can blend this up. You don't need to blend it for very long, just long enough that there aren't chunks of things anymore. And so there you have it, hummus.
And that was the roasted garlic variation, right?
Yes, this was the roasted garlic variation.
Thank you, Rebecca. We can't wait to taste it. And I've been smelling it, and it smells really, really, really good. So fun. Thank you so much. I love hummus. I love Middle Eastern food. And hummus is super healthy because it's full of beans. And that helps with our digestion. It brings fiber to our body. And of course, all the fresh things that are in there. You don't have to feel guilty when you're eating something like that. You can know that your body's getting excellent nutrition. Right now, I want to show you something, and then we're going to take it back because we've been preparing the plates. But this right here is the sweetbread wreath. I'm going to show you how to make the bread. This is the loaf of bread, The same recipe that you use to make this loaf of bread, you can use to make this wreath, you can make all kinds of different bread with that dough. So that recipe you can see, but I just wanted to show you this wreath in case we need to use it to cut up over back there. So I'm going to have Bonnie come and grab it and take it to the back. And now I'm going to show you a hilarious apron that was given to my husband a couple nights ago. And I said, what are we doing with that? And then I thought, oh, I can wear it in cooking class. So check out my apron, guys. Check out this apron. Isn't it cute? Ketchup with Jesus. Let us praise and relish him, because he loves me from my head to my toes. So I'm going to wear this fun apron while I tell you about bruschetta. How many of you like bruschetta? I love bruschetta. I was in Walmart the other day, and in Walmart I found something I'm going to show to you in a second, if I can just tie my apron so it'll stay on me. I found this. Does anyone know what this is? The shallot, okay. Anybody else? What is this thing? This is a clove of garlic. How many people love garlic? Like I do. I love garlic. Sometimes you can find cloves of garlic this big. I mean, we're used to seeing them about that size. But this is elephant garlic. The right name for this kind of garlic. I love this because you don't have to go through all the peeling effort and everything that, you can roast it like Rebecca was telling us, but look for elephant garlic and then you can literally peel it so quickly and you can use like half piece of it in your bruschetta. So this is the kind of garlic you're going to eat in the bruschetta. I got this at Walmart. The clove itself is about this big. It's a huge clove. So you can get that sometimes, and every time I see it, I buy it because it's so much easier to peel and you get a lot of garlic really quickly. So I already pre-cut my tomatoes. You can see them right here. All right, let me get my recipe pulled up here. The bruschetta, I'm making a big amount because you're going to be eating it. So this is a quadruple recipe that what you have in your booklet there. So here's all of our basil. I pre-washed the basil. I pre-cut it. I'm just going to dump it right in here. I'm putting in salt right here, 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm also putting in, and this is an interesting ingredient that this bruschetta recipe has, but we made it and I thought it was really good. So we're putting in our chili powder, and we're putting in also the garlic. The elephant garlic is going in here. Mariah, can you come and help? Well, no, let me just, sorry, she didn't get a chance to wash her hands or anything, so I'll just do it. I was going to have her stir. Bonnie did. Would you stir, Bonnie? Start stirring this bruschetta up for me. That would be awesome. There's a lot in there. And then we have olive oil. This is the olive oil I'm putting in there. It's organic extra virgin olive oil. Probably any olive oil would do, but just if you're wondering what I'm using, I'm not using any kind of special salt. It's just regular salt. But bruschetta is so fresh, it's so tasty. What we wanted to give you today were just some options of things that you can eat on bread that are healthy. So that's why this class is called Breads and Spreads. A lot of the spreads, are taste and see if you like it. Add a little bit more if you don't. Add some more salt. Add some more olive oil. Whatever you feel would be good. There's also cayenne pepper. It says it's optional. Rudy, do you want me to add a little cayenne pepper? Oh, cayenne pepper. This is the only. Oh, I put chili pepper. Yeah, it says you can be optional with the cayenne pepper. What I'm going to do with this cayenne pepper, though, I'm not going to add it because I want people to be able to add it themselves. If you get your bruschetta and you want to add cayenne pepper, I'm just going to have it up here for you, okay? You can come and sprinkle it on top, so I'm going to leave it right there. All right, so that's how easy the bruschetta is. It doesn't take a lot of time. You mix it up quickly. You add your salt to taste. We'll taste it back there and make sure it tastes right. But that's the bruschetta. And then this is the bread. This is the kind of bread that people like to eat bruschetta on. At least it's kind of how I like to eat it on, like the artesian or artisan bread, kind of crusty. Or you can use those crostini, which are basically the French bread, and it's cut and then toasted. So it's a little bit, it doesn't soak up all the juice. It's kind of crunchy. So yes, this is bruschetta. So I hope you enjoy it when you taste it. We're gonna take it to the back and get it all plated up for you. God has given us so many fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and right now, by the way, now's the time to start the garden. I mean, we're literally at that time where we can get our gardens going, so I'm super excited about that. All right, our next presenter is going to be Bonnie, and she is coming up right now. You want the mic on already, Bonnie? Wonderful. All right, take it away. Bonnie is going to be making pesto, and I think pesto and bruschetta just kind of go right together. So,
all right, so pesto has lots of basil, so I'm doubling the recipe that you have. So this is already 4 cups of basil leaves, and we're gonna add another 4. So the basil plant, you can just pluck off the leaves. You don't want to use these really thick stems, but you can use the smaller stems that are attached to the leaf. Let that come down just a little bit. So it reduces a lot, as you can see. The walnuts are going to go in. These are just half for walnut pieces, red pepper flakes and salt. And it doesn't take much of that. Garlic again. So you've already seen garlic plenty of times today, but this is a whole cube or bulb of garlic, and we're just using for the recipe 2, and doubling so that's 4. So garlic cloves. And nutritional yeast. I think this recipe, I think you should take it easy on the nutritional yeast. It's got quite a bit, I would use less. So I'm using less.
That's what's on the sheet.
Yes.
So, 2 tablespoons.
Yeah, 1 would be plenty. And you can add more if you like it. To me, it was just too strong a flavor and you didn't quite get the effect of the basil. There's that much nutritional yeast. So we've got our basil, our garlic, walnuts, nutritional yeast, salt, red pepper flakes. That's red pepper flakes just like you would sprinkle on pizza. Okay. Yes. It's good, especially for vegetarians. It has B12 vitamins. You don't have to add it.
The traditional pesto has Parmesan cheese, and
Right.
this is vegan, but nutritional yeast is great. So you for that flavor you want to have.
But even when I wasn't vegetarian or vegan, I didn't care for the Parmesan. I just eat it.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, usually sums out.
Yeah. With or without. So we're going to reduce this a little more before we go with the lemon juice and water and olive oil. So we had a nice full food processor. Now we're down to about 1/3. juice. Lots of lemon juice. Go ahead and put this in, and then I'm gonna measure the olive oil. So I can drizzle it in as we go. So the olive oil, we're gonna start with 3 tablespoons, but I'm doubling this, so there's gonna be 6. So I always knew that garlic is really good for us, but I didn't realize how good basil is for us. They say that some studies have shown that basil can reduce your risk of breast, or not breast cancer, any cancer, particularly colon cancer. Okay, so we've got a lemon juice. I didn't do the water yet or the olive oil. We're gonna do that as we pulse. And we'll add some water. And there we go. So you can make it thinner if you want, put a little more olive oil or water. But it's pretty much like that. Any questions?
Thank you, Bonnie. That was awesome. I love pesto, and I always plant basil in my garden. How many of you are going to have a garden this spring? Anybody? Yeah? You're not? Okay, all right. Well, at my house, yeah, at my house, I don't have a huge garden. I want to have a bigger one, but we have 4 garden boxes. And so I like to put lots of tomato plants, about 12 typically. And then I like to put basil, cilantro, a lot of the herbs. I like to put, what? Oh, thank you. I like to put rosemary, and I like to cook with fresh herbs. I have a lot of oregano. That stuff goes crazy. Mint goes crazy. So if you plant it, you got to keep control of those plants. But zucchini, green beans, all the cucumbers. We've done all kinds of different things, but I'm getting excited to plant my garden, and that's coming up pretty soon. Yes, you can come over and pick something.
Basil.
If the deer don't get it first, go ahead,
You
Molly.
can do basil just in a pot.
Yes.
too. It'll grow nicely in a pot. It just wants lots of sun. Yeah.
Yeah, basil is easy to grow, and it loves the warm sunshine. So yes, we're getting ready for the garden season. I'm super excited. Also flowers. How many of you like to plant flowers? I love planting flowers. I can't wait to do that. So that's coming up really quick too. All right, well, we're moving on to like the easiest recipe you could ever make because it only has 2 ingredients. And it's called berry sauce, strawberry sauce. You can use strawberries, you can use blueberries, you can use raspberries, as you'll see in your recipe here. You can do several different types of berries. I think you can even do a combo of berries if you like. But our favorite is strawberries. And so with the strawberry sauce, we're just using 1/3 cup of low sugar dried pineapple. Now, I've never actually seen it labeled that way, but we have a new store in Haymarket called Sprouts. How many of you have visited Sprouts? Yeah? Okay. They have a bulk section there, which I really love. We have another Sprouts in Manassas that's a bigger store, and it has more bulk. But at the bulk one in Haymarket, I did check, and they have this dried pineapple. So that's where you get the dried pineapple. While I'm talking about that, I also want to tell you about the Vitamix. There's different types of blenders. Some blenders are very weak, and some are very, very, very strong. This is one of the strong ones. Can anybody guess how long I've had this thing?
I would say about
20 years.
20
years.
Yeah, just about I got it in 2004, so where are we at? We're at 2006, 22 years. And beyond that, it was used when I got it. This thing was like one of the demo Vitamixes. And back then, I didn't have very much money, and so I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I really want a Vitamix. She's like, why don't you call Vitamix and see if they can send you a used one? I was like, oh, that's a great idea. She's like, it'll be cheaper. Called up Vitamix, and they said, oh yeah, we have a used demo blender, we'll send it to you. I think this thing was around $200 back then. You can still, and it's still going, that's why I haven't replaced it. But you can go to Costco now and get a brand new one that is, for what, 300 and something? Yeah, but still the price hasn't, after 22 years, it hasn't really massively gone up in price. This Vitamix blender is my favorite. My sister goes with the BlendTech. She's all about the BlendTech. Some people are all about the Ninja. Whatever you do, if you're gonna cook vegan and you're gonna cook healthy, you need a powerful blender, because you have to blend up nuts, you have to blend up all kinds of things. So that's my 2 cents on the blender. All right, so let me put the gloves on this time. I didn't do it right last time. I put on the gloves. So the strawberry sauce, like I said, has 2 ingredients. I like to buy the big bag at Walmart or whatever other store. But Walmart has a big bag of strawberries. It's about frozen strawberries, about this big, and they're already pre-sliced. For some reason, most strawberries are cheaper, so that's what I go with, and they're also easier to blend. So at night, you take your berries, however many you want to do. This just says 2 cups. I made a whole bunch, so I did one of the big bags. And then I put a bunch of the dried pineapple on it, and you put it in a bowl, cover the bowl, and just let it sit on the counter overnight. Because those strawberries are going to defrost, and the pineapple is going to make it sweet. How many of you like smoothies? Yeah, I love smoothies. But no, that's not what I was thinking of. Freezer jam, strawberry freezer jam. Oh man, I love that stuff. None of you haven't had it? You guys have gone? Wow, you have to have some make some strawberry freezer jam. This reminds me of strawberry freezer jam. That's how much I like it. So, all you do in the morning after you let it sit, by the way, if you want to speed up the process, just defrost the strawberries in your microwave. If you want to do it quicker. All you do with this is put it in your blender, and you blend it up, and you have your berry sauce. And this is good. This is good on pancakes. This is good on toast. This is good on bread. This is good plain by the spoonful. This is good mixed into yogurt. This is just good. Okay, even on ice cream. And that is it. So you are going to taste this in a little bit on top of the homemade whole wheat bread. And then you're going to have it beside the sweet nut roll. So you'll just have to tell us what you think when you taste it. All right, our next recipe is going to be done by Marietta. We're going to invite her to come on up here. Thank you, Marietta.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to make tofu extra, so let's just flip the page in our recipe booklet. It's going to be a plant-based alternative to traditional egg salad. And our main ingredient is going to be the tofu. And I want to talk a little bit about tofu because I would guess that some of us may use tofu regularly and some of us may not have ever had it. And they're both okay. I'm going to put some gloves on. I'm going to mash the tofu by hand. I just like to do it that way to make sure it's very nice and smooth. So here's my tofu. This is the one I got today. You can buy it at Walmart, Giant, any usual grocery store. I usually actually get it at Costco because it comes in a 4-pack and it's just the most cost-effective that way. Now for this recipe, you would want to use firm or extra firm tofu. This is extra firm. You might find silken tofu as well in the grocery store. That's not the one you want to use for this recipe. And you might wonder why tofu is a good alternative to eggs. I'm going to hold it up here. It's in water, usually I already drained that. And you want to squeeze some water out before you start mashing. I'm going to do that now by hand as I talk to you about tofu. So it's made of soybeans, and it's a plant-based powerful protein source. It actually has less calories and less fat than eggs, and it has no cholesterol. And I'm sure, as you know, cholesterol is a big problem in the typical American diet when it comes to arteries, coronary heart disease. So tofu is going to save you that versus eggs. It also is packed with all 9 essential amino acids, and it is higher in iron and calcium than eggs are. So I love using tofu, not just because of its health benefits, but also because it's really versatile. You can use it for savory dishes, from stir fry to curry. You can saute it, you can fry it. You can also use it for sweet dishes. If you want to use the silken tofu, I actually have a great chocolate pie recipe from Heidi's mom that uses tofu. It doesn't really have any taste on its own. That's why you can use it for so many different things. Okay, so once your tofu is nicely mashed and smooth, and it doesn't have big chunks in it, we are going to add all the seasonings. I'm going to start with turmeric. And turmeric is what is going to give it a nice yellow color that will remind you of the egg salad. We will need 1 teaspoon of turmeric for 1 cup of tofu. Turmeric has been used for thousands of years because it actually has a lot of health benefits. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and it can combat inflammation, and it can help you with digestive issues, skin issues. So it's a great spice to have on hand. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of chicken seasoning. Now I'm going to show you this. This is called McKay's Chicken Style Seasoning. So it is plant-based, and you can get it online, like on Amazon. If you're not able to get this, you might find something at any grocery store, something like this. This is Nature's Seasons. It's just a seasoning blend, kind of similar to the chicken seasoning, maybe not quite as powerful, but it's a good alternative to have on hand if you don't have this one. I'm going to use this one though right now. Again, 1 teaspoon. And then we're going to use some garlic powder, and a teaspoon of that. And some salt. Again, about half a teaspoon. I like to use the pink Himalayan salt. And then, of course, we need some mayonnaise, right? So I'm going to use a plant-based mayonnaise. You can make mayonnaise from scratch too. But if you're using to buy at the store, this one you can get usually at Walmart, hopefully, or at Giant for sure. And this is a plant-based Hellmann's mayonnaise, but there's other ones out there as well. So it's very easy to do, so you don't have to make it from scratch. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. I also like this recipe a lot because you can taste and just adjust according to your taste buds. If you like to put some mustard in it, you can do that, maybe a teaspoonful. Or I'm going to use some relish now. But you can do some chopped celery if you prefer that to give it a little more crunch. This is right about a 1/4 cup. And That's about it. Now, one more ingredient I must mention is the black salt. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a very distinctive salt that has this eggy smell and flavor to it. A lot of people like to put it in their egg salad. You can just open it up and it actually smells like eggs. To me, it's a little too strong, so I don't usually use it. But it's definitely something that you can look into and you might enjoy. So now I'm just going to stir all the ingredients. And right now, as you see, we are eating tofu raw. And you can do that too. That's not unsafe. You can eat tofu raw. And you can serve it immediately. But if you give it a couple hours in the fridge, the flavors might maybe even a little bit more. And it's just a fun spread with bread. Or you can dip it with crackers, chips, biscuit or fruit. My kids love it. So I hope you enjoy it. That's about it. There we go.
Excellent, thank you so much, Mariana. There is so much we can do with tofu. Tofu is a very neutral flavor. It doesn't have a strong, it can take on the flavor of other things. So at our house, we love to make scrambled tofu, and we brought up the black salt. You can get that at H Mart. You can get it at my brain is blanking, Lotte or Lot. The Asian markets, Lotte. Yes. Yeah, H Mart. You can get it at O Market. It's called Hala Namak. My son loves it. He puts it on all kinds of things. It has like a sulfuric flavor to it, kind of like an egg-like flavor. So he really likes it. So we go through that stuff in our house. Right now, I want to talk to you about the chicken salad sandwich that you're going to taste. We want to thank Leslie Sorto because she made what you're going to eat. This is a chicken-like spread that's vegan, and it uses gluten flour. You can look at your recipe. Gluten flour, I want to show you right now. I ordered my gluten flour off of Amazon. It's about $20 for this bag. I put it in the bread, as you're gonna see, but you can also use this to make, kind of like vegan meats, because it's removed from the flour all by itself. And so there's a lot you can do with gluten flour. In this recipe, it's used to kind of bind the garbanzo beans that you blend up, and you end up making kind of a loaf about this big, and you bake it in the oven. And when it comes out, it's tough. And then you break that up and put it in your food processor and blend that up, and that is what becomes your meat. So it's a fun recipe to make. I encourage you to try it. And then you mix that with your chopped celery and your mayonnaise. And she just showed you one of the really good vegan mayonnaise options that we have. There's also another one called Vegenaise, or Vegenaise, some people call it. They have it at Wegmans, but I like the Hellmann's because it's a little bit cheaper. My kids like the flavor of the veggies better. So at least we have so many options. And of course, we have recipes to make our own. When I was growing up back in the 80s, we were kind of weird because we didn't have all these options, so we had to make all of our own things. And everyone said, "Whoa, these people, who are these people eating all this weird, healthy food?" But in this day and age, it's normal to have mayonnaise without eggs. It's normal to find veggie meat substitutes. It's normal to see all those things all around us. Plant-based is kind of like a hot word these days, Vegan is a big deal. So now it's the norm. Back when I was growing up, not so much. So I'm glad that it's become more normal. All right, now I'm going to invite Kim Orange up, and she's going to show us a really yummy recipe that you do not have in your booklet, because she surprised me and said, "I can do the cucumber salad." I said, "Are you serious? This is the bonus recipe. This is like the bonus song at the end of the, recording, 15 minutes later. the bonus song comes on, you're like, that's my favorite song, and play the whole recording. Well, this is probably gonna be the favorite recipe the whole night, so.
I only made it because she loved it so much.
I love it, so tell us about it, Kim. Thank you.
All right, so basically it's very simple to make. It's got cucumbers and it ends up looking like this. It looks like a cucumber salad. You've heard about the tea sandwiches that the ladies have and the little cucumber sandwiches with the tea and when they go to have little teas at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But this is vegan, obviously. I do like to eat a lot of cucumbers and whipped cream cheese. That's usually, it satiates me because I like to have snacks. Cucumbers are crunchy, they're healthy, they're full of water, and it holds you over for quite a while. So we kind of joke, my girlfriends and I, we eat a cucumber a day practically. But this recipe is very simple because it's only got a few ingredients. And then the other thing that helps me do this really quickly is this mandolin. So I've been watching different videos and they have different kinds of mandolins. This mandolin also has another attachment that I forgot to bring, but you basically can put stuff on top and slam it. So you've seen people slam and chop their onions up. Fantastic. So I found this at Walmart. It's not a specific brand. It just looks like this. But the cucumbers go really quickly because I'm very impatient, so I don't have time to mess with food, and I don't really like to cook. But you always find me in the kitchen for some reason. So I think, yeah, it's pretty weird. I think I'm fighting something, you know, trying to adopt the idea of cooking. But anyway, this is, this one's very quick and easy. You'll see, this is why I love it so much. So the cucumber will disappear in a matter of seconds. I wish I knew the name of this because it's a shameless plug. You guys could run all out and buy it. You'll see how quick it is. When you get to the bottom, don't keep going because you will slice your finger, which I have done a few times. I forgot to put gloves on, which is why I normally wear gloves, because at least it gets the blood before it gets me. See how pretty? It's all consistent. This one is just one depth. I do also have a larger one that you can adjust the slice size, but this is quick and easy for me.
Walmart sells
This one? Okay, good. Walmart, there you go.
it comes different.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Or you run out to Walmart.
Right?
Walmart is that way.
It's right next door, it's on the same ground. So one of the things about this recipe that takes the longest part is that, you know what, cucumbers hold a lot of water, and the salad, the dressing that goes on it is like cream cheese, but with water in this, it won't attach to the cucumbers. So you have to salt this and set it aside, put it in a bowl, put some salt on it, and make sure the salt's like touching all of them. And then once it's done, you need to rinse it and lay it out on a paper towel and let it dry for a few minutes. I had a towel and I just laid it out and did this on the way. You can't really make this too far ahead because it will get soggy. So in order for it to stay nice and creamy and attach well, you need to let these dry out a little bit. So I did that. So pretend it's all dried out, and then I just dump it in the bowl. I put a whole container of, this is tofutti, better than sour cream. This is also vegan. I can't read what's in it, but it's vegan. And this is Kite Hill. This one's chive cream cheese. So I mix the two of these together, put them in the bowl. I take some lemon, squeeze either as much lemon or as little as you like, put on there. And I did put a little bit of salt on top of, after I rinsed the cucumbers, I put a little more salt back in, mixed it up together, and it's all nice and creamy, and it's yummy, and it's filling. One cucumber is actually quite filling for a meal, if you want it like a light dinner or something like that. So,
Kim, tell us where you got the cream cheese and sour cream.
oh, these I got at Wegmans. They're probably at Walmart also, but I did find these at Wegmans.
They don't have them at Walmart, I know that. I keep waiting. They
You
do
can find them
have them at
sometimes.
Wegmans.
Okay.
Brand.
So this is tofutti. Kite Hill, like a fly kite. And I tend to, I love Wegmans, so I'm usually, if I see Wegmans, I bounce in all the time. This has been in with the other cream cheeses in I don't know what you call those things. The guy, yeah, inside the clothes section, whatever. But today I went to the Wegmans in Warrenton, right here as on 29 as we're coming down, and they actually have it all separated in their own refrigerated section. So all the vegan stuff is together. Thank God. Makes it easy. They do? Okay. So this is new to me because I don't do a lot of cream cheese. I was eating the other cream cheese. I'm not yet completely vegan. I'm working on it. I have had some health issues, so I'm trying to lighten up what's possibly impacting my body, and this seems to not affect me. So as far as inflammation or anything like that, cucumbers are also very good with for inflammation, and it gives you a lot of water. I don't know if I told you it had dill in it too. So it also has a little bit, you can put a little dill in it and mix it all together. There, that's about it. Any questions?
Did you guys get that awesome recipe written down?
She
Let
loves
me
it.
tell you,
So,
you really want to make it.
well, I hope you'll
So
like it.
the good news is, right now, we are going to eat. So we're gonna pass out your plates, and while you're eating, Pastor Ray is going to do a health talk for us. And he's going to talk about from wanting to winning. From wanting to winning. So this is going to be very good. And while you're eating, you can enjoy listening to him. And then we're going to come back after his talk, and we're going to show you how to make the bread. All right? So that is where we're headed. Thank you, Pastor Ray. By the way, you're all getting a pepper on the plate. It is a pepper you can eat. It is not spicy. It is a sweet pepper. All right? So don't be nervous about the pepper, okay? You'll see it. Just a little bit. There are many sweet peppers. Yeah.
And for those of
You
you,
can just take a bite out of it.
and for those of you who haven't tried, there's all kinds of peppers that are not spicy. And I love hot food, and everyone does, but I lived in Central Europe for nearly 40 years. And in Central Europe, they're really big on two things. They're big on breads of all kinds. They have these baked shakes, is what is in Hungarian, and you get all kinds of baked goods. But on top of those baked goods, you could also, you have go to the grocery stores, they have peppers, but not just peppers, they have a subsection in the, kind of the fresh food area where they have like bakeries or the deli, and it is all pickled. So you have like pickled peppers, yes, you can get the pickled onions, and they would have shredded cabbage stuffed inside of peppers. You can either have this plain peppers or spicy peppers, and I love pickles and peppers, so I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So what we're going to be sharing with you this afternoon is the subject called From Wanting to Winning. Now, before I was a pastor, I was a chaplain, and I also led out a clinic. I was a health educator there. I led out the head of health education department. We would do anxiety and depression programs. We would do one called 8 Weeks to Wellness on healthy living. We would do one on Breathe Free, what it was called, on stop smoking, on all kinds of subjects. And the physician I worked with, he was very slick in the way that he did it. He would have patients that would come through, and if they had high cholesterol, he'd send them through his 8 Weeks to Wellness program. If they were dealing with emphysema, he'd send them through his Breathe Free, Stop Smoking program. Didn't have to quit smoking, but he was very much encouraging it, obviously. And when it comes to healthy living, one of the things we want to talk about, we often struggle with, is how do we make healthy decisions and how do we make a change in weight? It's one of those subjects we're sensitive about, and yet we understand, especially in America today, is it growing, or I should say, are our waistlines in general growing, friends? It is. I hate to break it to you. One of the things I hated when I lived overseas, people would talk, they'd either talk about current American politics, whatever they were, or they'd also say, like, oh, Americans, they're so unhealthy. And I'm like, that's not the only thing we're well known for. It bothered me after a while. But I'm going to share some negative stats while you have a guilt-free meal, all right? So what we're talking about, the foods to avoid, you are not eating, so don't worry. Don't feel like, oh, I can only eat half of this portion. So we're told that 64% of the population is overweight. Now, this was done in 2013. And in 10 years, these numbers can, yes, exactly, that's more. I used to, when I was a health educator chaplain, I was in Kentucky, and it was a leading one when it came to especially obesity in childhood. Right? It was amazing. 127 million overweight, right? Massive number. 60 million obese, right? 9 million morbidly obese. And many of you have heard about BMI, body mass index. If you want to find that out, a lot of times you can just get a little online, either an app or you can go to a website, just Google BMI, and they'll want your height and your weight. Now, I would look for one that says height, weight, and gender, because the build of a man and woman is different, right? Men roughly have 20% more muscle mass, give or take, generally speaking. So it might not give you a true number. So that's one way. Now, if you don't want to get all fancy like that, an easy way is come up the inches of your waist. Now, there is variance, right? Obviously, there's a difference between myself as 5'6", and my best friends I grew up with, they were 6'3", 6'5", and 6'7", right? There's a definite size difference there, okay? You got to take it into context. What we see here, ideal is less than 37 inches for a man. Ideal is less than 3 inches for a woman. There is variance. Obviously, the more there is, there's a higher risk. Now, what I will say here, we're talking about weight, but even exercising. Did you know that, well, many of us know that is smoking good for you, friends? It isn't, right? We can know that often we say that it reduces a person's lifespan by 7 years. Exercise is so great for you. I'm not advocating smoking, but you're better off, how do I say this, right? Exercising and smoking than like smoking and not exercising. So exercise is that beneficial. So even those that are overweight, if they exercise, they lower their chances of heart disease and all those things significantly. Because there are some that just have a harder time losing weight, but if you're active, it makes a massive difference. And there's been studies on that. But to show you, just going back to 85, back to roughly the time period I was born, you can see how obesity has increased significantly. So the white were the states that we had no data. Light blue means less than 10% experience. We have the levels of obesity, and then the darker blue is 10 to 14%. Now you're just going to see every 10 years the study is done. Look how quickly the colors get darker and darker. 10 years later, right? Or 5 years later, actually. 5 years later, now we have a bunch of the country is 10 to 14%. Then we go another 5 years later. Now we have the breadbasket of America now 15 to 19%. Then we go forward another. Right now, it's the majority is either equal to or greater than 20%. That's what the yellow is there. Then we go forward to 2005, and now it's 25 to 29%. The dark red with dots is either equal to or over 30%, and it just grows and grows and grows, right? And we can see that. It's not a complicated thing, right? And so we also know that more and more of us are moving less and less because our jobs often don't necessitate. So, what are some of the things we need to focus on when it's making healthier choices in weight? Right? Our environment, what surrounds you, culture, what pressures you, biology, there is a biological component. The older we get, does our metabolism increase, friends? No. Those buddies of mine that were 6'3", 6'5", and 6'7", their dad said, my boys are going back for second and thirds, and I feel like I just look at it and I gain weight, right? He was also a tall man, right? He was active, but his metabolism wasn't what it used to be, right? And so we'll give some examples. So what you eat makes a difference. How much you eat makes a difference. That's one of the big things. We're going to look at a picture here. If you look at the portion size of certain foods today and then 20, 30 years ago, have the portions decreased or increased? Increased. This is a funny one that was done. There was a while back, the New York Yankees fixed their bleachers, and they put all brand new seats in there, right? All new seats. And they were just kind of giving a public notice. This is how many seats were in it prior. They redid the whole thing. This is how many seats they had now. And they had thousands of less seats. And an angered man said, this is what's wrong with America. Baseball is still American sport. People still like watching it. Why did you decrease the amount of seats? And they wrote back to mankind, sir, we did not decrease the area of the seats. We just increased the size of the seats. Because the average posterior of the American has one. And so there's all kinds of these things, right? We also know, we have perceptions of what it means to eat healthy. We had a patient, he's very frustrated in a health class, talked to our head physician and said, I know I need to eat healthy, but I'm tired of eating salad 4 times a day. Are we advocating anyone to eat salad only 4 times a day? Yeah. And the physician said, I would be angry too, that's all I eat. Right? No, you eat other things. Are you just eating salad, by the way? No. Right? Another big thing is the shift is in our minds, right? Weight control is getting our minds to make a shift. and choosing to eat things different. For example, if you eat a strawberry is a fresh one that is ripe, how does it taste, friends? It's sweet, right? Now imagine you wake up in the morning, the first thing you have is a glass of water and some nice big ripe strawberries. And then, let's say you then take a bite of a Snickers bar and you eat that up. And then you go back to the strawberry. Does the strawberry taste sweet anymore? Why? Because there's a whole lot more sugar in the Snickers bar. And so part of it is that our taste buds have been polluted, right? Is what part of it is. So as we develop full understanding of the neuroregulation of appetite, I think the addictive nature of food will come clear. Can food be addictive? Yes, it can be. I can hear story after story. Yes, exactly. Right? We had a physician come in to do a presentation at our clinic, and I remember he said that genetics isn't the problem; it's the cookbooks that have been passed down. Right? With certain family recipes. My grandma made a stack of flour tortillas every morning, and so that's why if anyone gets to know me, I prefer flour. Just like I ate them every single day from my grandma. And but when she first made them when I was a little boy, they all had lard in them. And then my mom was like, you know what? You can eat something else besides lard that's healthier. All right, we've taken the position that overeating is in part due to food becoming more refined, more palatable, and more hedonic. It's just about pleasure. Right? Have you seen food advertised and it's playing into our pleasure? Why else could you? I don't know if they still do it, but Olive Garden did it for a bit. You could buy a main course and they would give you another full one to take home. Right? Yeah. Or I remember this was years and years ago when I was a teenager. I remember, what was it? Domino's Pizza. They advertised 5 feet of bacon in one of their pizzas. And I think anyone knows, is that too much bacon? Yeah, obviously. Right. We know that. You don't have to be, a health specialist to know, probably not a good idea. So we should de-junk your house, right? Because if you have it in your pantry, you're gonna what, friends? My grandmother had diabetes, she had osteoporosis, she struggled with weight, and she would always buy, she had a sweet tooth, she would always buy Little Debbie's treats and Hostess cakes. And my dad and my uncles would always say, Mom, you don't need to buy those, that's not good for you. Oh, they're not for me, they're for the grandkids. But guess who ate most of them? I love my grandma, but yeah. It was her. So read labels. This is a big one. There's certain foods that we think are healthy for us. And what is one of the snack foods that we've been told, if it's the evening and you want to eat something that is filling, but is low in calories, what is it? One of them, friends? Yes, it's white and fluffy. Yeah, popcorn. And one of the big things, of whatever you're looking at, if you will read the labels, my friends, portion sizes, right? There are some foods that they will tell you there's no fat in them, and you look why, it's because it's the size of the portion. Like the spray on oil. Oh, there's no fat. Oil's fat. Why? Because you're spraying a millisecond or a second is what the squirt is. And so you have to find out what the portion sizes are. So our sizes have grown. You look at the slices of pizza. You look at that. I remember looking at a study that was done during World War II, and it showed, it was funny the way it did it. It showed a picture of a pig, a pig, or a cow, and it showed the percentage of a cow, how much of a percentage of a cow the average American ate in a year. And you can see how, as we've gotten closer to this time, we've always eaten the same foods. But 60 years ago, our grandparents, depending on your age, or great-grandparents, they might have ate the same foods that we do, but did they eat more plant food or less plant food than we do today, friends? Yeah, so they might have had some of the same proteins that people do today, but they ate a whole lot more of the garden foods, didn't they? They definitely did, and therefore we're healthier. All right, so we with plant foods, we want more is better. Actually, a fun fact about this is they've done studies, and what they've seen is, we talk about the portions of fruit and vegetables, and we typically say, how many portions did you aim at a day? 3 to 5, right? Fruits and vegetables. What's funny is that they've done, colorful, exactly. And what they discovered is that the more servings of fruits and vegetables you eat, you keep on getting benefits up to 10 servings in a day. Now, any of you are going to eat more than 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, and then have 2 or 3 servings of whole grain. None of us are eating that much, right? We couldn't. The point being is that these foods are really good for you. So instead of the processed foods, like, a typical pizza, candy, sweets, refined sugars, you want to look at for more as whole form. right? So you can have a veggie pizza. You can have one of those cold ones. You can put one of those cream cheeses we were talking about, a healthy one. You can put, the vegetables on it. It's a much better way. You can have a salad. You can find a healthy dressing, because usually salads are great, but it's what that goes on top of it. That takes, that Thousand Island dressing or blue cheese, and all of a sudden it went from being really healthy to not so. And it also depends how you layer it. Have you ever been to one of those bagel shops, and the cream cheese is larger than the bagel that it sits upon? I've seen those. I'm thinking, wow, you want some bagel with that cream cheese, right? And so some of it is beginning in small steps, right? If you've been eating a typical American diet, and you're going to try to go just plant-based all of a sudden, or just eat all, healthier foods, is it going to be easy to make that switch, right? It's going to be hard. So let's say you like chili, right? Add some add some vegetables. Add some other things to your chili. Add different kinds of beans, right? When you have bread, instead of eating white bread or Wonder Bread, get some whole grain bread. Is whole grain bread good, friends? It's fantastic. I love that when I lived in Europe, just eating all this bread. I remember we went to a camp, and this one of the ladies, she had like 13 kids. She was used to cooking for a bunch. She would make these loaves of artesian bread. They were probably like 5 kilos apiece, massive loaves. And we devoured this stuff. It was good. And so making healthier choices, drinking water, right, or drinking those kind of low-carb drinks as opposed to sugar-rich soft drinks. As you wrap up here, keep an eye on the time. Many people wonder, well, how many calories do I need to eat? Now, you can go to websites, you can download apps. That's one of the cool things today. You've never done that. There are apps that help you track all those kinds of things. You can go down to the details of finding that. But if you don't want to go down that road, there's another way you can do it. You can take your weight, multiply by 12. That's how many calories you need to eat to maintain your current weight. Then you take your weight and multiply by 10. And that's how much you lose weight. Now, some people think they have to cut their calories significantly. Now, you can, but likely you're not going to stick to the diet change, and also it's going to make it very difficult for you to stay by that. We'll give an example here. So let's say you weigh 180 pounds. You want to keep your weight, right? You would eat 2160 calories a day, which is a very generous amount, let's say. If you want to lose some weight, you're going to eat 1,800 calories a day, which is less. But you're not going to feel like you're starving on that diet, to be clear, right? Because the lifestyle change that we're emphasizing is not starve yourself, lose weight, and then go exactly back to what you were before, but making a change that you can keep on going. One of the providers in the clinic I worked at, she specialized in medication to help with weight loss. And there's a place for it. I'm not going to deny it. But what she said is those that just took the medication and didn't make any lifestyle changes, it was like 80 to 90% of them gained all the way back and then some. But those who made the lifestyle changes alongside it were able to maintain and keep it off, right? So that's what we're aiming at here. And I'm going to end with a funny story. An inspirational story, actually. So this is many, many years ago. I'm not sure this to make light of anyone. I don't want you to think that. She was, back in the day when they had circus attractions, I think it's a shame what they did to people. And but nonetheless, that's a whole other discussion if you recall the history of that. But her name was Dolly, and she was coined as the world's prettiest circus fat lady. And yes, as shocking as it sounds, it would not happen today, obviously. People would pay money just to come gawk at her, right? They would have people that were, how do we call them, dwarfism, and they would go and see them, right? And these people would act these shows. But she was 5 foot tall and 555 pounds, right? Clearly, that is excess. Now, she shared about her story. She said, for almost 50 years, I was caught in the clutches of my own jaws. I ate from the time I got up until I went to bed. Obviously, it takes a lot to keep up that weight. She says, during all those years, I lived very much on the sidelines of life, just observing, just wishing, just being watched. Now, the fact that she was 5 foot means, was she likely a large-built person, friends? She was petite, right? Now, what's interesting here is in 1950, Dolly suffered a near fatal heart attack. Her doctor told her she needed to change her lifestyle. Now, this is encouraging to me because sometimes it can feel like we have so far to go, like there's no way. But there it is. Have you ever heard, how do you eat an elephant, friends? One bite at a time, exactly. Right? So making small choices. She said, I suddenly realized that life is more than eating. I promised God that I would follow the doctor's orders if only I survived. This is Dolly. Right? She lost, I can't imagine this. She went from 555 pounds to 112 pounds, which is crazy because if you look at her weight, That means she lost, when she got down to 112, she lost like 4 others of herself, right? This is a massive difference, right? And she didn't do it in 6 months. And she didn't do it in 3 weeks. That's the crazy thing. If you look like guys on Google, you'll find like, how can I lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks? Like, you know, it's not gonna happen. Right? Just give up. That's not the approach we're going for, right? She said, I'm a totally different person, living an entirely different life. It's like being reborn. I lived a miserable existence that fortunately came to an end. And so there are choices that we can make. Now, as I said, as we feel like, hey, I'm not where I want to be health and weight-wise, there are different builds. Some of us have a different metabolism. There are differences. It's not just because our eating habits. There can be other things there. But one of the big things is exercising. If you exercise, and even if your weight isn't what it should be, where it's slowly melting off, you are decreasing significantly, as I said, your chance of cardiovascular problems, of diabetes, of all of those things, if you just move. How many of us can do that? To some degree or not? Yes. Even if you are sitting in a chair, you can't go on runs. You can do exercises in your chair. So end with some encouraging Bible promise. Curb every passion and be on the alert. Your great accuser, the devil, is going about like a roaring lion to see who he can devour. And one of the ways he does that is by our habits. And one of that could be lifestyle, could be diet. We'll close with this one. Win with God's power and plan. The Lord is faithful. He will strengthen you and guard you from the evil one. Can God give us power to overcome even our taste buds, friends? Yes, He can. Yes, He can. I have seen God. This is a whole discussion. But if you want to have Bible promises, I can share them with you. I've seen God help people overcome lifelong addictions, right? To substances that aren't just satisfying, but are actually keep them in the bonds. And if God can do that, He can help us overcome diet as well. Any questions before we wrap up this part of it, friends? All right. If anyone wants to get a picture of that slide later on of like how to multiply your calories, I can flip back to it later on and let you see that. But that concludes this section of it. Are you going to share more? Right?
Thank you so much. That was excellent. I very much enjoyed that. It made me think about my mom. My mom was here last month. How many of you were here for that class? Very good. My mom didn't tell you this, but she used to weigh 200 pounds. And my mom is 5'3". And so when I was a little girl, my mom would eat a whole gallon of ice cream while my dad was at work. And then he would come back home and or she would make a couple pies, because my mom was a really good cook, and she would eat a whole one by herself, and then she would give the other one away. And so it got to the point where she couldn't get down on the floor and play with my sister and I, because we were, all over the place. We were 3 and 5 years old, and so she decided to go on a plant-based diet, and she decided to take the bull by the horns. And today she weighs between 122 and 125, and she's very careful with her weight. And I'm benefiting from that because she taught us, my sister and I, that it's important to keep an eye on what's going on. And it's hard when you're not very tall. I'm only 5'1". Sometimes I wish I was 5'6" or 5'7", like Kubi over there. She gets the height advantage. But unfortunately, some of us don't have the height advantage. So you know what? We just have to accept it and do our best to keep ourselves healthy. Well, we are now going to talk about bread. Yes. Yes, my mom helps people lose weight, and she is a weight loss coach. She's also a nurse. You heard a little bit about that, but she was here. So what I need from my team is I need somebody to please fill up this right here with 4 cups of hot water, and it just can be from the sink.
Well, we have.
Oh, you have hot water. Perfect. As long as it's not ultra hot, because I don't want to kill the yeast, but I don't think it will be. It should be pretty good. Okay, before I moved to Virginia, I never, ever made bread. This whole bread making thing for me has not been going on for very long. But I got into making bread because my mom and my sister both got one of these machines. This right here is called a Bosch mixer. Some of you may have a KitchenAid mixer, that would work as well. But what I love about this Bosch mixer is that the lid is open. So I'm so sorry to tell you that I don't sit there and eat my bread for 10 minutes. I don't have that kind of time.
Bread machine in this house.
Bread machine is another option. So that being said, you probably have a whole wheat bread recipe that you use on your bread machine. I don't know if there's specific recipes. So I don't have a bread machine, but I do have this Bosch, and it does all the kneading for me. This is the dough book. So I just wanted to show you the inside of it. I highly recommend a Bosch. It has all kinds of different attachments that you can put here for mixing all kinds of things. But this bread, what I'm going to show you is this bread right here. This bread can be made in 1 hour, start to finish. This loaf takes 1 hour. And it's not just, this recipe that you have is not just for 1 loaf, it's for 4 or 5 loaves. So you can have 5 loaves of bread in 1 hour, which is amazing if you ask me. Who would have thought? I mean, you look at that and you think, oh, that's going to take me all day. No, I don't do things that take me all day like that because I don't have that kind of time. So the way that you do it, and I'm going to show you what I do, is we start with our hot water. I put it right into the Bosch. By the way, I got this thing on on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody drove to Gainesville and just said, get this out of here, I never used this thing. So look up what?
God sent it to you.
Yeah, so if you want a mixer, just go on Facebook Marketplace. That's something that can help you. Okay, we're going with the yeast. This is active dry yeast. And I'm going to put 6 tablespoons of it directly into this water. That's 6 tablespoons of yeast right there. And then I'm going to add my 2/3 cup of oil, just going along with the recipe here. This is my 2/3 cup of oil, that's going in here. Then I'm going to add my 2/3 cup of honey. That's going in. Very easy. By the way, did you like the bread? This is the bread you just ate. You had chicken salad on it. And you had tofu salad spread on it. Was it good? Did you like it?
Yes.
Good. And it makes delicious toast. It makes very good toast. And you can freeze it. So if you make too much and you can't eat it all, you can freeze it. All right, you just put another pair of gloves because those are, you know what, I'm taking this home. So I'm just going to do it with my hands. Okay, now I'm going to put in 2 cups of oatmeal. This is quick oats. And I'm going to turn this on. I'm just turning it on speed 1. But you could do it on speed 2. This is a 1/2 cup of gluten flour. I showed you the flour. Same stuff I showed you earlier. Already pre-measured, 1/2 cup of gluten flour. So I'm going to put that in there as well. Got it going on speed 1. This right here is 1 tablespoon of salt. That's going in there. And then this is a tablespoon of liquid lecithin. This is liquid lecithin. It's a pure vegetable product. And if you look in most breads, you will see lecithin. You can get this on Amazon. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. It's supposed to bind your bread together better. But I ordered this, and it lasts for a long time because you're only using 1 tablespoon every time you make your bread. It is a sticky substance. And to get it off, you have to use your measuring spoons. You want to use some liquid dish soap to get it off because it likes to stick to everything. That's those. Okay, the thing is just going around and I'm adding my ingredients. I'm going to add 2 cups of unbleached white flour. This is the exact bread that you ate. If you want 100% whole wheat flour, you can do that too. But I'm just taking the exact recipe that you just had, and this is 5 cups of whole wheat flour. And that is going into the Bosch. Now you can hear it changing sound. You hear that? Working a little bit harder, so I'm gonna put it up to level speed too. All right? Now, I'm gonna leave it like this for about 7 or 8 minutes. And you can just walk away and forget about it for a while. And it mixes and mixes. It's actually going to be, it's kneading the dough now. So I don't have to do any kneading. And this is gonna work like this for a while. After 7 or 8 minutes of this, when you notice that the dough is not touching and sticking to the sides, that means, and it's not sticky in your hands, it's not sticking to you. If it is sticking to you, you should add some more flour. But if it's scraping the sides clean and it's not sticking to you, that dough is done. Then you can get it out and put it on the surface. It's not ready to be taken out yet because it's still mixing. I wish I would have brought a little bit more flour too, but I did not do that. And I wish I could have shown you. Oh well, that is what it is. I'll talk about it. So, when it is done kneading, you get it out, you put it on, I spray nonstick cooking oil on a large cutting board. I have plastic cutting sheets. I cut it into 5 sections because when the dough comes out of here, it is ready to be put in your bread pan. You cut it into 5 sections, you get your 5 bread pans out, spray them with your nonstick cooking spray, put each dough in each of the 5 bread pans, and then you put it, I put parchment paper over it and I let it sit there for about 30 minutes. And it will rise up to the top of those bread pans. Put your oven on 350, and as soon as it's up to the top of those bread pans, take the parchment paper off, slide those 5 loaves in the oven at 350, and then it does dough spring. So it even rises higher because your oven is already hot. And you bake it for 30 minutes and it's done. That is it. That is how I made this bread. I'm going to turn this off since we're not going to go through the whole process. I can deal with it later. But does anyone, could you guys hear me? I was talking about this.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about this, the process I just shared?
Rebecca was asking, I'll give her the answer afterwards. How do you slice it? Like bread knife?
Oh, okay, I have a bread knife. That's how I slice the bread. So the bread knife that I got is, I don't know if you've heard of Victorinox knives. Victorinox. I really like that knife. But you can get any bread knife. But I just slice it with a bread knife. Sometimes people have electric bread knives or they have special whatevers, who knows what. But I use just a manual bread knife to cut the bread. And so that is, and we're going to give some of this bread away, including this one right here. It's just been sitting up here. Now I want to talk, any other questions about the whole wheat bread? No? Okay, actually, before we go to the artisan bread. So, the same dough recipe as this is what, how did you like the sweet bread? Did you like the bread? Yeah, okay. It was the same bread recipe, but instead of making it into loaves, when I got it out of here, I rolled it out to about this thin. All over my counter, I made a big circle. Then I took some margarine. I took the Smart Balance or the Earth Balance margarine and I slathered that all over the dough. And then I took some brown sugar, and then I took some cinnamon, and then I took chopped walnuts. And I spread that out all over the whole thing. And then I rolled it up in a long log. And then you can cut it and make sweet rolls. You can put it in a dish and let it rise. You do the same process as you do with the bread. You just let it rise while you put your oven on 350. It's heating up. About 30 minutes later, it's risen, and you can put it in the oven and bake it. So that's how I made the sweet bread that you just ate. And then I just drizzled a little bit of icing on top for a special touch from the pretty sweet. But that was just powdered sugar, a little bit of soy milk, and some almond flavoring. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, good, I'm glad it wasn't too sweet. Wow, well, thank you, I'm so glad.
So this one, did you, the one that was made, did you make it like a circle?
Yes, I made it in a circle, and then you can, yeah, you can make the circle, just make some cuts in the top of it, and I put it on a baking sheet like this one. And you can shape it, you can make it into a heart, an oval, a circle, that one I kind of call it a wreath. And then you just slice the top so it can get some air. So it's kind of like a sweet roll still, but it's a different, different shape. So, yeah. You could leave it like a log if you wanted, but I actually connected them. So they were in a circle. I showed you the one at the beginning with on the big white plate. That was the one that I got. So that is the sweet bread. You can use any kind of nuts. You can put dried fruit. You can make it savory. You can make this dough savory. Any of these doughs savory by adding like olives or rosemary or different, spices like that. You can herbs like that. You can do. So that's that one. Now this bread right here. I have a friend, Rihanna. She wasn't able to be here, but she gave me the recipe that you have for this bread. She made the dough, but I made a loaf too. It was my first time making this artisan bread. So I hope you liked it. It was with the bruschetta. Now it is all white. So you can't add wheat flour into it. I just wanted to kind of crusty white bread is kind of what you eat that with. So that's why I wanted that today. But obviously we don't want to eat white bread all the time because it's lacking fiber. The whole wheat flour is better. But this bread here is also very easy to make, and you don't have to knead it. You don't even need a wash or anything like that for it. What you need to do is put all the ingredients that you see in a bowl, follow the directions, mix it up, and let it rise in that bowl. It takes about 2 hours for it to rise, or you can even do it overnight. Once it rises, you're going to turn it out on a surface, and you're going to turn the dough, add flour to it so it doesn't stick, and you just pull it together a few times, and then you put it in a bowl on top of parchment paper. And it will rise up, and while you're letting it rise for 30 minutes, you have put your oven on 450 degrees. So your oven is heating up. How many of you have a Dutch oven? It's a super thick, heavy pan, for pot. I have one of those, so you stick that in your oven at 450, and while this does its final rise, that pan and that oven, or that pot and that oven are heating up together. Once 30 minutes have gone by, that pot is going to be at 450 degrees. Pull it out, grab your dough ball that's inside the parchment paper, drop it inside your Dutch oven, put the lid on it, and leave the paper there. The paper won't hurt anything. And put it back in the oven for 30 minutes. It will be baked. Take the lid off for about 5 minutes to get the little kind of browning on the top, and it's done. So this takes a little bit longer because the rising process is slower. It doesn't have as much juice, so it takes longer for it to rise. But those are the two breads that I wanted to share with you today. And does anyone have any questions about anything that you tasted or any of the recipes or anything? Let's start in the back.
I don't have any of those things to do this, so how much do you think it would cost to make a loaf of bread? Would it be cheaper just to go to the store and buy it?
Well, if you don't have a mixer, the breads that I showed you, this artisan bread, the only piece of equipment that you would need, you don't actually even need your Dutch oven pot. You can do it on a cookie sheet if you wanted to make that. If you do it in a bowl and it doesn't need any real kneading, you just mix it with a spoon.
If you have a cast iron skillet,
I do.
or a cast iron,
Okay.
like a Dutch soup kind of pot, you can do it in that.
Okay, good. You have it then for this artisan bread. Yeah, this mixer right here, if you don't have a mixer, the only other option for making whole wheat bread like that would be to spend your time actually kneading the dough for about 10 minutes. Folding it over and over and pushing it, kneading the dough. Once you do the kneading process, which you skip with this machine, you don't have to mix it or knead it because it does it for you. But you can do that by hand. It just takes time. So, yeah, or you can, there's really good bread. Let me tell you some good places to buy bread. How many of you have been to Trader Joe's in Centerville? Anyone? They have really good organic sprouted wheat bread there. Also, Wegmans has some very good whole wheat bread, multi-grain bread. Barbara? All these has, I bought that bread, it is very good. Seed-tastic bread at Aldi's is excellent bread. It is high fiber, full of seeds. It's very good bread. It is inexpensive. I'm trying to think, it's like, yes, $4 a loaf. So we can highly recommend that bread as well. So there's some really good breads, and believe me, I don't make bread every week because even with this machine, I don't always make bread, So we also buy bread. So it's yes. Levy? Oh, Sabrina? Oh yes, you can do rolls. You can do rolls and then let them rise. Same process as with the bread. Yep, you can do so many things. Very versatile recipe. Let me get you ready and then.
For the sweet wheat, how do you guys look like this?
In this picture? Let me see this picture. These might have been some stock photos.
It looks like a little braid.
A braid. You know what? That's actually hollow bread. Yeah, so that was just a photo, so don't be deceived by the hollow bread photo. I have made hollow bread. So if you want to do hollow bread, the hollow bread is a Jewish bread that they use in Israel to walk on the Sabbath. And they eat it with grape juice. It's a very special bread. The way that you do that is you take 3 strands and you attach them at the end, and then you literally braid it. And that's how you make it look like that. And you could do this with this bread recipe. You can do that. You can braid it and it would look like that. And if you wanted to add the nuts and the margarine, it would be a little bit difficult because you're using ropes for that. So you can't really do that very easily. So hollow bread doesn't add anything to it, but that is just a picture of the stock photo. So sorry for the confusion there. Okay, Alicia? Mom's Organic Market. They have it in Woodbridge, and they have it in Herndon, I believe. That's another good place to get organic and healthy foods. Yeah, thank you for that. Anyone else? Questions or comments about any of the food today or anything you had?
Pretty good at asking how I should do it. We do. So our oldest likes to be celebrated, but he's had a very sharing. So I did my regular TV, put it all in the bag.
Oh yes, bread in the bag.
Bread in the bag is also one, and challah in the bag is.
Yes.
Another 50. So you can do bread in the bag without having to
Yeah.
use all the kneading in your Ziploc bag.
Thank you for that. I have an excellent bread in the bag recipe. If you want to give me your email address or your phone number, I'll take a picture of it when I get home and I'll text it to you. And the bag is this bag right here that you make it in. And it's very quick and easy, and you just knead it in the bag, which I've done many, many times. I've done the bread in the bag. And it's kind of fun.
On the track.
And it's good exercise for your hands too, and your hands don't get dirty. So if you'd like that, just let me know. I can send that recipe to you as well. All right? Any other questions or thoughts or anything before we close up today? You're welcome. You're welcome. This has been fun. I hope you got some new ideas. Alicia? Yes, if you would like seconds. Oh, there may be some food left over in back if you would like to eat or try something again.
So, yeah, we have packed up a whole plate of dessert.
Okay.
Didn't get served, and we do have a little bit of the stuff, if you wanna try it.
Excellent. I almost forgot, we have prizes. We're gonna give away some bread. So Pastor Ray, please come and help us do that.
As we grab those, the number of you probably signed up here, we have a little yellow notepad here. Just write your email there, and we'll send out an email to all of those that have their address there, the recipe of bread in a bag. I heard, we had a lady in our group that did one, it was, for her it was in a bucket. So you can find all different kinds of ways of doing it. All right. So we're gonna We have our first two here. 3230282. 323. All right, fantastic. What we have is not only a loaf of bread, we have a nice magazine. It's called Vibrant Life, and then a DVD that talks about 8 key points of having a healthy life. Yes, hope you enjoy that. Fantastic. We have another one. 3230283. All right. Rudy and Linda. Hope you enjoy this. I know you will enjoy it. Yeah, bread is one of those things. He's trying that. I think he got one more. Take it. I was gonna say my mom used to make bread from scratch when I was a kid, and you have to be careful because she started out with, she had a bunch, well, she'd make 5 loaves of bread, and she's got to the point was every week. And I'll say this, when it's homemade bread, if it's there, you're gonna eat it. So you have to pace yourself some. 3230279. 3230279. Once, going twice. 3230279. All right, you're back. And by the way, can we give a hand to not only those who are up here, but if you look to the back, those that the ladies have. And we don't have to take for our next one, but also there's another point. If you'd like to come out to these, we're trying to do them once a month. You're going to have just write down your email address, your phone, whichever your preferred form of contact is, and your name, so we know who it is. On that little tab, if you haven't done it yet, we'll make sure we get you the bread in a bag recipe and future events. But one thing I want to pass out here before we go out, my 2 friends can help me with this. We have a seminar that's going to be coming up in April. One, you see on the front of it, you'll probably get one of these in the mail if you live in Warrenton. If you don't, you can still come, but you probably won't get one in the mail. And it's called Stress Less, Live More. How do you agree that we have more and more stressful things happening in our lives? And the fact of the matter is we can't remove those things. The only way you can remove the stress is if you weren't living, right? We don't want to go down that route. And so we're going to see how can we experience a life that is free from handling stress. You can see the topics there. The high cost of stress, plans for pills, right? There is a place for pharmaceutical aids. But if any of you have spent time working in the health field, you know that they can help lower the things we're dealing with, but do they solve it, friends? And so we can help take care of our bodies. Many don't realize this, that they're not eating the right fuel, which means they're experiencing mental stress. And on top of that, it's compounded by their bodies being stressed by not getting proper nutrition. It's just a vicious cycle. Stress effects on nutrition. Whole foods for whole people. Now, if you turn that little postcard around, you'll see another side. And on Tuesday nights, we have our prayer meeting. We have it right here at the Warrenton Community Center. We're going to have a Bible study. This is nothing like big screen or TV or videos or anything like that. It's just opening up a study guide, question and answer format, going through the book of Daniel. And so if there are those that are looking for direction and from the Word of God, what does the Bible say about the times we're living in? How can we understand it? It is a real basic approach, but very thorough, very enlightening. And I'll be leading out. It'll be myself. It'll be Rudy over here, and then Tommy as well. He's not here, but his wife is here. His better half is here, and he would agree with me on that one. And so you can look at that. Those will both be taking place in April. Feel free to check that out and take any extra invitations you'd like. But with that, we will conclude, and you can go and look for extras and get some food to go if you'd like. So let's bow our heads and close the word of prayer. Dear Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that we've learned. We thank you for all the hard work and effort that's been put into this. We thank you for our friends that have come and new friends that we've made. Bless them be with us all today, dear Father. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
He needs you guys. This is fine. If you have to climb into the tree. So you're saying, Brad, that we have like Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, we have pathfinders, so we have to do a.
I know, right?
Yeah, taxes, you can't do it again, so we have that, so it's tax irons, you can do it, you can either do it over the open fire, or you can do it.
We've done it outside. I've done that outside.
Yep, or you can do it with
I wrapped it on a stick
yes,
before.
you can do that, you can
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
in, if you have a grill
What's it?
or a smoker, and you can put it in.
It's like you go and then you like knead it and you put it on top. But then
Yeah, that's why you're looking at, you know, the higher capacity,
Yeah, that one you can just do it at home.
ag skillet for instance.
Why do that sound really
Cast
fun?
iron skillet, we got a few of them. So see, cast iron skillet habits. Yeah. So if you need a gas iron skillet, let me know.
You can always come back.
No. It's either an all. Look at me, like,